briefly tell me.
Actually.
Yes. Can you raise this a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. So today being His Disappearance Day, Prabhupada asked us to celebrate Jnananda Prabhu's disappearance every year, just like we celebrate Vaishnava. The Vaishnava saint's disappearance. So this is so it's very fit for us to sing this bhajan commemorating his disappearance, and then we will go on to speak about Lord Nrsimhadev and his pastimes and so many things which Srila Prabhu asked me to warm up the Vyasasana for you to speak tomorrow. So, he who bought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, that such a personality is Advaita Acharya Gana. Brahma Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami, where's Sanatan, where's Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen, where am I Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta, and where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where Lord Gauranga is big and suddenly go. I'll smash my head against a rock and enter into the fire. Wherever will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities. Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performs his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. Jaya Nilo Prema Karuna Praju Jaya Nilo Prema Karuna Praju Jaya Nilo Prema Karuna Praju Jaya Nilo Prema अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् अभय शरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विश्वपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत गोस्वामी ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम सुंदर राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की श्री वृंदावन धाम की नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी की गंगामय की यमुनामय की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी देवी की समवेता भक्तवृंद की taking over the world Sri Prabhupada's transcendental book distribution की all grace assembled devotees all grace assembled devotees all grace assembled devotees all grace Shri Guru Shri Gauranga all grace Shri Prabhupada. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
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 We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, text number 17. Bhavatam api bhuyat me yadi shraddhate vachaha visharadi hihi shraddhataha Sri Palana Cha Me Yatha Bhavata भवताम अभिभूयान्मे यदि श्रद्धा धते वचः विशारादिधि श्रद्धात वैशाराधीधि श्रद्धात श्रीबालानां च मे यथा भवतामपि भूयान्मे यदि श्रद्धा धते वचः वैशारदीधि श्रद्धात श्रीबालानां च मे यथा भवताम् अपि भूयान्मे यदि श्रद्धते वचः वैशारदीधि श्रद्धात श्रीबालानां च मे यथा Please repeat.
भवतामपि भूयान्मे यदि श्रद्धते वचः वैशारदीधि श्रद्धातः श्रीबालानां च मे यथा
भवतामपि भूयान्मे श्रद्धते वचः वैशारादीति श्रद्धातः श्रीबालानां च मे यथा
भवतामपि भूयान्मे यदि श्रद्धते वचः वैशारदीधि श्रद्धातः श्रीबालानां च मे यथा
भवतामपि भूयान्मे यदि श्रद्धा धते वचः वैशारादीधि श्रद्धातः श्रीबालानां च मे यथा
Mataji, please.
यदि श्रद्धते वचः वैशारदीधि श्रद्धातः श्रीबालानां च मे यथा
भवतामपि भूयान्मे यदि श्रद्धा धते वचः वैशारदीधि श्रद्धातः श्रीबालानां च मे यथा
Go ahead.
वैशारदीधि श्रद्धातः श्रीबालानां च मे यथा
Bhavatam of yourselves. Api also. Bhuyat it may be. May of me. Yadi if Shraddhate. Do you believe in? Vachaha, the words. Vaisharadi, of the most expert, or in relation with the Supreme Lord. Dhihi, intelligent. Shraddhataha, because of firm faith. Three of women. Bhalana, of small boys. Cha, also. Me, of me. Yatha, just as. Translation purport by Divine Grace AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prahlad Maharaj continued, my dear friends, if you can place your faith in my words, simply by that faith you can also understand transcendental knowledge, just like me, although you are small children. Similarly, a woman can also understand transcendental knowledge and know what is spirit and what is matter. Prabhupada. These words of Prahlad Maharaj are very important in regard to knowledge descending by the disciplic succession. Even when Prahlad Maharaj was a baby within the womb of his mother, he became fully convinced of the existence of the supreme power because of hearing powerful instructions of Narada, and understood how to attain perfection in life by bhakti yoga. These are the most important understandings of spiritual knowledge. Yashadevi para bhakti reta devi tata guru tasyati katita hyata prakashante mahatmanaha. Under those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master, all the imports of Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed. Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Ata Shri Krishna Madina Bhavigrahim Indriyahi Sevam Mukhi Jivado Swayameva Sparatida. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.234. Bhaktya mama abhijanati yavan yashashvatataha tato mam tatvato jnatva vishate tat anantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is only by devotional service. When one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, text number 55. These are Vedic injunctions. One must have full faith in the words of the spiritual master and similar faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then the real knowledge of Atma and Paramatma, the distinction between matter and spirit, will be automatically revealed. This Atma Tattva, or spiritual knowledge, will be revealed within the core of a devotee's heart because of his having taken shelter of the lotus feet of a Mahajan such as Prahlad Maharaj. In this word, Bhuya may be understood to mean, let there be. Prahlad Maharaj offers his blessings to his class friends, saying, also become faithful like me, become a bona fide Vaishnava. Become bona fide Vaishnavas. A devotee of the Lord desires for everyone to take to Krishna consciousness. Unfortunately, however, people sometimes do not have staunch faith in the words of the spiritual master, who comes by the disciplic succession, and therefore they are unable to understand transcendental knowledge. The spiritual master must be in line with the authorized, in the line of authorized disciplic succession, like Prahlad Maharaj, who received the knowledge from Narada. If the class friends of Prahlad Maharaj, the sons of demons, were to accept the true Prahlad, they would certainly also become fully aware of transcendental knowledge. The words Vaisharadhi refer to intelligence concerning the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is extremely expert. It's amazing. The Lord has created wonderful universes by his expert knowledge. Unless one is extremely expert, he cannot understand the expert management of the Supreme Expert. It's amazing. Prabhupada is such a poet. One can understand, however, if one is fortunate enough to meet a bona fide spiritual master, coming in disciplic succession from Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Mother Lakshmi, or the Kumaras. These four sampradayas or disciplic successions of knowledge and transcendence are called the Brahma Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, Shri Sampradaya, and the Kumara Sampradaya. Sampradaya Vihina Ye Mantraste Nishphala Mataha. The knowledge of the Supreme received from such a Sampradaya or disciplic succession can give one enlightenment. If one does not take to the path of disciplic succession, it is not possible to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one understands the Supreme Law through devotional service with faith in the disciplic succession, and then advances further, he he awakens his natural love for God, and then his success in life is assured. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shretapatakalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvatamsya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Divyadhandaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnakara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Shri Govinda Devo Preshta Harihi Sevyamano Smarami Vancha Kalpatarubheshya Kripasamudhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminati Namine Nija Guru Hari Vanya Krishna Chitto Vichinto Parihita Vidrigeha Yanda Sansara Kupaha Prabhu Bhajana Sakapto Majjayam Swamsva Vishwo Bhuvi Jayati Vikaso Bhakti Purvo Yatindra Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshtarane Vagisha Ayasya Vadane Lakshmi Vyasya Chivakshisi Yasyaste Hridaye Samvittam Nrsimhamaham Bhaje Prahalada Hridaya Hladam Bhakta Vidya Vidaranam Sharadandu Rushim Bande Parindra Vadanam Harim Mukam Kati Vachalam Pangam Langayate Giram Yat Kripat Maham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're reading this most ecstatic verse that Prahlad Maharaj is telling to his friends when he was in the womb of his mother. I thought it was a very fitting verse to speak about for two reasons. Anyway, there's so many reasons, but two primary reasons are. One of them is that our Sampradaya has a history of infiltrating into the empire of demons and overpowering them and overthrowing them. And the second one is, this purport also speaks about how important the faith of a disciple is in the spiritual master. And just by putting that faith in that spiritual master, a disciple can attain all perfection. And Jayananda Thakur is certainly a perfect example of such of performing such an amazing feat. So, I'm going to be interspersing, pastimes of Jayananda Thakur with this verse and Nrsimhadev and all this and all that. I'm not a good organizer, but I'm trying to organize my mind as much as possible. Kindly forgive the shortcomings if there are any. So, we can see this over here, that in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj is instructing his schoolmates that if you simply have faith in my words, although you're young boys, Prahlad Maharaj was not just a young boy, he didn't even come out of his mother's womb. While he was in his mother's womb, Narada Muni took in his mother, Kayadu, into his brahmachari ashram and protected her there until her husband returned from performing severe austerity. So while Kayadu was in Narada Muni's ashram, Narada Muni gave this topmost instruction of spiritual knowledge unto Prahlad and his mother. And Prahlad says, although I was in the womb of my mother, by the mercy of Narada Muni and by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, I was able to put in so much faith in the words of Narada Muni that now I'm actually able to understand and realize all these things. That by his mercy, I'm able to attain the purest form of devotional service, which is rarely attainable for even most of the demigods. Therefore, if you put faith in my words, even young boys and even women, they can understand the topmost spiritual knowledge. This is what Narada Muni, this is what Prahlad Maharaj is telling to all his classmates. His only request is kindly have faith in me. If you kindly have faith in these words, then the topmost knowledge will certainly be revealed. And we can see this, that Prahlad Maharaj had so much faith in the words of his spiritual master that the Supreme Personality of Godhead became an unquestioning reality. He actually came to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead is literally present everywhere. And because he was literally present everywhere, he did not have to perform great austerities like that of Hiranyakasipu. Hiranyakasipu said he performed so many austerities. He performed such fantastic austerities that he was the greatest demon ever known to mankind. Nowadays we see, our devotees or like our friends within the Krishna conscious movement always recommend, don't be an idiot. Don't join the Brahmachari ashram. Don't join the Brahmachari ashram. Don't do this. Don't give your life to Krishna. Please don't. Don't waste your life like this. You could rather just be a karmi and try to chant Hare Krishna on the side. Be a success in life. Be a success in life. And then they may quote this materialistic devotee and that materialistic devotee and this and that. And they may say, yes, you please do this. And by doing this, you will actually be a very great success. But the problem is that they're not taking the example of the people who have actually been successful in the material world. Who is the greatest success in the material world? Who's the greatest success in the material world? Hiranyakasipu is the greatest success story. You want to really know what a success story looks like? Let's see. Now let's give a view. You want to be a success? You want to be a success? Okay. Let's show you how you can actually be a success in this material world. And you can be such a success that you can terrorize the universe. Okay? So let's look at some of the things that the greatest success in the material world ever did. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 4. We'll just skim over some of the verses. Narada Muni continued, Lord Brahma was very much satisfied by Hiranyakashipu's austerities, which were very difficult to perform. Therefore, he been solicited for benedictions. He indeed granted them, although they were rarely achieved. Lord Brahma said, O Hiranyakashipu, these benedictions for which you have asked are difficult to obtain for most men. Nonetheless, O my son, I shall grant you them, although they are generally not available. Then Brahma offers, and then Hiranyakashipu, the great success demon, having been blessed by Lord Brahma and having acquired a lustrous golden body, continued to remember the death of his brother and therefore was envious of Lord Vishnu. So one main thing, if you want to be a really huge success in the material world, make sure you're envious of Lord Vishnu. That's like number one thing. Hiranyakashipu became the conqueror of the entire universe. Indeed, that great demon conquered all the planets in the three worlds, upper, middle, and lower, including the planets of the human beings, the Gandharvas, the Garudas, the great serpents, the Siddhas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, the great saints, Yamaraj, the Manus, the Yakshas, the Rakshasas, the Pishachas, and their masters, and the masters of the ghosts and Bhutas. He defeated the rulers of all other planets, where they are living entities, and brought them under his control. Conquering the abodes of all, he seized their power and influence. Now this is really amazing. Hiranyakashipu, who possessed all opulence, began residing in heaven with its famous Nandana garden, which is enjoyed by the demigod. In fact, he resided in the most opulent palace of Indra, the king of heaven. The palace had been directly constructed by the demigod architect Vishwakarma and was beautifully made as if the goddess of fortune of the entire universe resided there. And then there's more descriptions of how beautiful the palace was, and there you go. Hey, oh my dear king, Hiranyakashipu was always drunk on strong-smelling wines and liquors, and therefore his coppery eyes were always rolling. Nonetheless, because he had powerfully executed great austerities in mystic yoga, although he was abominable, all but the three principal demigods, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, personally worshipped him to please him by bringing various presentations with his own hands. I'm looking for a particular verse. Okay, there you go. He was so successful, Hiranyakashipu, as if in fear of Hiranyakashipu, the planet Earth, which consists of 7 islands, delivered fruit grains without being plowed. Thus, it resembled cows like the Surabhi of the spiritual world or the Kama Duga of heaven. The earth yielded sufficient food grains, the cows supplied abundant milk, and outer space was beautifully decorated with wonderful phenomena. By the flowing of their waves, the various oceans of the universe, along with their tributaries, the rivers, which are compared to their wives, supplied various kinds of gems and jewels for Hiranyakashipu's use. These oceans were the oceans of salt water, sugarcane juice, wine, clarified butter, milk, yogurt, and sweet water. The valleys between the mountains became the fields of pleasure for Hiranyakashipu, by whose influence all the trees and plants produced fruits and flowers profusely in all seasons. The qualities of pouring water, drying, and burning, which are all qualities of the three departmental heads of the universe, namely Indra, Vayu, and Agni, were all directed by Hiranyakashipu alone without assistance from the demigods. In spite of achieving the power to control in all directions, and in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied because instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. So this is a very important thing to understand. If you really want to be a success, this is what success looks like. Real success looks like this, that just by the twitching of Hiranyakashipu's eyebrows, all the demigods would squirm in fear. Just by Hiranyakashipu's desire, all the rivers, the oceans, and tributaries would give him all the jewels that he can imagine. The earth would produce grains without being plowed. This is real power. Everyone with the exception of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva would offer prayers to him, including Narada Muni, to pacify him. This is what real power looks like. So nowadays, many devotees are encouraged, please don't give your life to Krishna. Be a successful Vaishnava. But a successful Vaishnava means you have a lot of money and you may be chanting Hare Krishna with a lot of misconceptions. So according to this definition, Vamsidas Babaji was an unsuccessful Vaishnava. So was Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. So were all these other renunciates who were not so successful. So, although such foolish propaganda goes on and on and on in this material world, we still understand that the real truth established by Srila Prabhupada and his faithful followers is actually what is meant to be followed by all devotees. That, yes, in this material world, a person has to perform austerities. How many austerities did Hiranyakashipu perform? We can't even imagine. Hiranyakashipu performed so many austerities. He performed these austerities. Why did he perform these austerities? For the simple sake of sense gratification. And although he received sense gratification to the topmost level, still he was not satisfied. Why was he not satisfied? Why? Because his senses were uncontrolled. His senses were uncontrolled. And because his senses were uncontrolled, no matter what he did, no matter how hard he tried, he could not be happy. He could not be happy. There were so many people who perform tapasya in this world, even today, the mini Hiranyakashipus. They work so hard. They work so hard for sense gratification. They work so hard. They don't see their family. They don't see their they don't see their friends. All they're focused on is making so much money, and they make so much money and they die without even having the ability to enjoy it. And even if they have the ability to enjoy this material world, how much can they enjoy this material world daily? Can they enjoy it as much as Hiranyakashipu can? No. Now we have one of the richest men in the world. He built a rocket ship to go to Mars, and on its way, everyone could see the rocket flying. Everyone was in ecstasy. It just exploded in the sky. Such are the failure attempts of this puny Kali Yuga brains of these Kali Yuga demons. They can't really figure it out. Okay, you can have AI, but can you do what Hiranyakashipu did? Impossible. Impossible. Can we perform all the functions of the different demigods as the way Hiranyakashipu did? Impossible. We can never do it. We can never do it. Therefore, we celebrate this day, tomorrow especially, to glorify Nrsimhadev. Who glorified Nrsimhadev the most?
Hiranyakashipu.
Wow, okay, you heard the lecture. Yes. Hiranyakashipu glorified Nrsimhadev the most. There's a really amazing lecture called
Glorifying Hiranyakashipu.
Glorifying Hiranyakashipu. It's a very ecstatic lecture. I strongly recommend everyone listen to it. It's a great lecture called Glorifying Hiranyakashipu because Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that in Satya Yuga, the person who glorified Hiranyakashipu the most is actually, who glorified Nrsimhadev the most is actually Hiranyakashipu. But we see this also, that in this world we want to sing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. We do not want to sing the glories of Sovidvara Hostakare Samsutta Purusha Pashahu. We do not want to sing the glories of people who are like hogs, dogs, camels, and asses. We are not interested in singing their glories, But Hiranyakashipu was the greatest demon. And even Lord Vishnu glorifies Hiranyakashipu. Where does Lord Vishnu glorify Hiranyakashipu?
Vamana avatar.
Vamana avatar. Vamana avatar comes. He comes in front of Bali and he glorifies, wow, Hiranyakashipu was so great. And you see, if you go and tell a demon he's a nice guy, they're not going to like that so much. So how does Prahlad Maharaj glorify him? You are Asura Varya. You are the greatest Asura ever known to mankind. Hiranyakashipu was like, thank you. Thank you very much. I am the greatest demon. Matter of fact, you're absolutely right. I am the greatest demon ever known to mankind. And yes, that's right. I made my mark. I'm the greatest demon. So, even Vamanadev glorifies Hiranyakashipu. And we also glorify Hiranyakasipu. Why do we glorify him? Because he was such a big demon, that he conquered all the demigods, and only Vishnu could come to kill him. He had so much prowess. No one else had as much prowess as Hiranyakasipu, ever. And because he had so much prowess, Lord Vishnu himself had to come down and kill him. Hiranyakasipu worked so hard, he performed all these austerities, he conquered everyone. Everyone. No one was left for him to conquer. But because he was an envious demon, the anger in his heart always resided. There was this anger. He was so angry. That Lord Vishnu killed his brother. Lord Vishnu killed his brother. And because he killed his brother, his entire life he was angry towards Vishnu. We get angry and we say, you rascal, wake up in Bhagavatam class. We say that, and after some time our anger goes away. But Hiranyakasipu's anger stayed with him for his entire life. He was so angry that in anger he always thought of Vishnu. And Narada Muni, this really amazing verse in the Bhagavatam 7th canto where he tells, out of his humility, he tells Yudhishthira that actually, I feel I could have as many intense emotions as these demons like Shishupal, Hiranyakasipu, Ravana, all of them had towards Vishnu, because anger, hate is a much more intense emotion than love. And this material world, we see this, that hate is a very intense emotion. You can love, that's nice. But when you really hate someone, you can do, it's very like, a negative inspiration is also very powerful. But Narada Muni's attraction towards Vishnu is transcendental. That the gopis' feeling of separation from Vishnu is so much greater. So from Krishna, is so much greater than any amount of the intensity of hate that a person can experience in this material world. But Hiranyakasipu thought of Vishnu with so much hate that he would always think about him. But it's not recommended for us. What's recommended for us is Anyadulashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Janavitam Anukulyena Krishnanushīlanam Bhaktirittamam. If we want to think of the Supreme Personality of God in a what way? In a favorable way. In a way that's favorable. But Hiranyakasipu always thought of Vishnu in a very unfavorable way. Therefore, when he performed so many austerities, so much tapasya. And you see, tapasya is required in this material world. If you want to be a material success, tapasya is required. If you want to be a spiritual success, tapasya is required. There is no working around this. That if one wants to become a material success, one wants to be a success, even materially speaking, how much austerity do they have to undergo? Sometimes you see in India, there's like advertisements for IIT and study for IIT and study for this and that. And then there's like tutors who train you to be a great IIT guy. And IIT is like the Harvard or more than in India, So you can be this IIT guy. And when you're an IIT guy, we can understand that you're really smart and really brainy and a great donkey who can carry a lot of books in your mind. So the advertisement is there of a student sitting like a yogi, sitting and meditating like this. And the advertisement is Tapa Karo, or perform austerity. Perform tapasya. It's not like you just come and you do a magic wand and then you become a great IIT guy overnight. No, you have to come and you have to perform austerity. You have to use your brain power to such a degree that, and even in the middle of your sleep, if he woke you up and asked you a really complicated mathematical question, you will be able to give the right answer. They say tap karo, perform austerity, perform this, By performing austerity, you will become a great material success. So there is no escaping austerity in this material world. That's why Rishabhadev also tells his sons. What does he tell his sons? Nayam devadeha vasham niloke kashtan kama arhati vidbhujami tapodevyam putrakaina satvam yasmad dhamma shokyam tvanantam. That, my dear sons, do not waste your life like hogs and dogs that eat stool. Do not waste your life in sense gratification. Because if you waste your life in sense gratification like the hogs and dogs that eat stool, you'll end up being like one of them. Rather, this life is meant for divine austerity. Austerity is needed. How much austerity did Prabhupada perform for us to have the plate of prasadam that we have every morning? How much austerity did Prabhupada perform in order for us to come and be here? That austerity is unlimited. Therefore, we are also requested by Prahlad Maharaj and his followers that we should also take upon this process of austerity very seriously. If you do not take upon this process of austerity very seriously, then we will become a spiritual failure and a material failure. And we see so many of these material failures and spiritual failures within the so-called Krishna conscious movement, especially in the West. We see so many people, they claim to be children of devotees, they claim to do this and that, but then what are they doing? They're smoking pot, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're having illicit sex, they're going to karmi schools, acting like karmis. But even among the karmi world, there are failures, and among the devotee world also there are failures. So what is the use of such a life? What is the use of such a life? It's not, once Prabhupada was asked, Prabhupada, is being lazy a demoniac quality? And Prabhupada said no. And the devotees were shocked, like, Prabhupada, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that being lazy is not a demoniac quality? Because Prabhupada said, even the demons hate laziness. Even the demons hate laziness. Wait, tell me, which demon is lazy? How hard they are working for their sense gratification. They're working so hard to go to hell. So hard to go to hell. But for us, you say, Prabhu, please say everything in Bhagavatam class, that's like a big austerity. Please be enthusiastic in Mangalarti. That's a big austerity. Sometimes you see devotees, they're like standing in Mangalarti as they're standing in a funeral, like, they fall asleep while they're standing. So depressing to look at such people. Shake up, get fired up, chanting Java Hare Krishna, gone, not done. Why? Why don't you have the enthusiasm to perform devotional service? Why? Really, devotee is so miserable in Mangalarti, like, oh my God, it's like the worst thing, like, coming here, seeing Krishna, oh my God. It's like seeing the devotees, I had to bathe this morning. Like so much tamagun, like get out of your shell of ignorance, get out of that shell of it. Completely covered by tamagun, like the aura of tamagun, not aura, but like the stench of tamagun is just like around the person. Like wake up, be fired up in Krishna consciousness, be fired up to perform Mangalarti. If you're not fired up, if you don't know what to do, dance. And even if you don't feel like dancing, dance and even you'll become enthusiastic. One has to be fired up to be any kind of success, any kind of Bhagavatam class, devotees of Krishna. Yes, we're hearing about Krishna, but we love to sleep. The best time to sleep is in Bhagavatam class. Why? Why so miserable? Why so much samagun? Always feeling bad for ourselves. No. Why don't we feel for the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Why don't we feel for the mission of Prahalad? If we do so, then we'll actually be able to perform proper austerity. Let's have faith in the words of the spiritual master. Let's actually get fired up. Let's get fixed up for once. Let's get fixed up for once. And if we get fixed up and if we get fired up, then we can actually understand what it actually takes to go back home, back to Godhead. Do we want to go back home, back to Godhead or not?
Yes.
We do. So where should our eyes be? Or where should our eyes be? Our eyes should be on the go. Our eyes should be on the lotus feet of Krishna. Keep your eyes on the prize. And if you simply keep your eyes on the prize, you will at a certain point of time attain it. But unfortunately, our eyes are always upon us. We wake up in the morning, we bathe the deity, we dress the deity, we sing the glories of the deity. But unfortunately, the deity in our mind is ourselves. We wake up in the morning, we bathe ourselves, we dress ourselves, we glorify ourselves. But if we simply transfer the whole thing towards Krishna, and not just by words, with our mind, then we'll actually be able to attain the highest happiness. Om tad Vishnoya paramam padam sada pashyanti surya yoho. That the great learned Brahmanas, although they're in this world, they're keeping their eyes on Vaikuntha. They're keeping their eyes on Vrindavan. They're keeping their eyes on the lotus feet of Krishna. That is why it's recommended you keep your eyes on the prize. That is the prize. The prize is the satisfaction of the spiritual master. We simply keep our eyes on the satisfaction of the spiritual master, then nothing is impossible. Narada Muni instructed Prahalad, my dear boy, you simply you worship Krishna, you worship Vishnu, and you become so powerful. You become so powerful. And Prahalad did that. Prahalad always worshipped Krishna. To what degree do we want to keep our faith? How far does our faith really go? What is our breaking point? What is our breaking point? If we were to honestly examine ourselves, then we will honestly be very disappointed as to how little advancement we have made in our own Krishna consciousness. What is our breaking point? How far can we actually go? If the spiritual master told you, pack your bags, go to Japan, and open like a nice, amazing center, and where you're distributing lots and lots of books, how many of us will be willing to do it? How many of us? First, we can start by, following our authorities. That'll be good. It's good to be all emotional and say, yes, Jahi, I will do it. But then, you fall asleep while chanting your rounds. What's the use? No. You get fixed up. At least at least do the basic thing that the spiritual master is asking you to do. That we don't want to do, but we have this imagination in our mind. Yes, one day I'll be a great superhero. But we don't even want to get our basics right. We don't even want to come to the platform of starting our spiritual life. But we see, how far does our faith go? Prahlad, how much faith did he have? How much faith did he have? When Hiranyakasipu had his servants throw Prahlad off the cliff, right? There's this picture. Prahlad was falling from the cliff. Where did Lord Vishnu hold him? Right when he threw him off? At the very bottom. All right, you're Prahlad. Let's just say you're falling down. Someone threw you from, how tall is the highest building right now? 400 floors, 100 floors, 300 floors? No one knows. Very good. Fantastic. Let's just say someone is throwing you out of a 100-story building. You're falling. Oh, I know Krishna is going to save me. 90th floor, Krishna is going to save me. 80th, 70, 60. Where is Krishna? Oh my God, anyway, Krishna is not here, and we start to panic and we die without thinking of Krishna. But Prahlad, Krishna caught him all the way down. Why? Because he had full faith that Krishna would protect him. He had full faith. Prahlad Maharaj, he was, he had a sister who had this benediction. Her name was Simhika, right? Her name was Simhika. Simhika had this benediction that from Agni, I'll give you this cloth. You wear this cloth and you enter into fire, you will not get burned. So Simhika took Prahlad on her lap, and she entered into fire. But then what happened? She got burned and Prahlad didn't. Hiranyakasipu thought that, okay, let's do one thing. I have an idea. Let's get this guy, stampeded by a whole lot of elephants. And when the elephants came, what happened? Prahlad Maharaj sees the elephant. The elephant bows down to him, unable to stamp him. Then put him in snakes, put him in hot boiling water, throw snakes at him, do this, do that. Let's do everything possible to kill Prahlad. But he's not able to be killed. He's not able to be killed. And Hiranyakasipu had some mundane affection for his son. Like, he's like, he had like the best demons, like the sons of Shukracharya. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kavinam Ushanam Kavi. What does this mean?
Poets, I am Sukracharya.
Among the great politicians, Prabhu.
Politicians, okay.
Among the great politicians, I am Shukracharya.
Sorry.
I am Shukracharya. You know what Shukracharya means? Literally, if you were to break down the Sanskrit of Shukracharya, you know what it means? It means the Acharya of discharging semen. That's literally what it means, Shukracharya. So the Acharya, Shukracharya, was so expert at telling the demons, my dear demons, enjoy like this, enjoy sense gratification like that, enjoy it like this, and enjoy it like that. And he gives them so much amazing advice. My great demons, you enjoy like that. And then he had his students on Shanda and Marka. And Shanda and Marka were the personal trainers of Prahlad. Not just nowadays you see any Tom, Dick, and I'm a personal trainer. And they come and they teach you to do some push-ups and jogging and have a keto diet and do this exercise and you'll have a fit body. But they were personally instructing Prahlad in all the aspects of politics and Danda, Sama, Veda, and all these amazing things that if you're a politician and you have an opponent, what do? First thing you do is try to appease them by giving them gifts. And they're still not appeased, then you try to give them a post. Then if they're still not appeased, you cause a dissension within their army. And you're still not able to do that, then just go all out and just go and fight with them and kill them. So they're training Prahlad Maharaj in all these intricacies of politics and all these things. In Chandana Marka, they're like, we're doing a good job with this guy, yes. And then Hiranyakasipu is with his son, and he's asking his son, my dear son Prahlad, what did you learn in school today? And Prahlad, what do you expect like small children to say? Like, Vivek has a son, and Vivek, you ask your son, what did you learn at school today? Like whatever he says, you think, oh, it's cute, oh, so nice. What did you learn in school? Like I learned something, whatever. They only teach stupid things at school. So I learned something stupid, and oh, so cute. So Prahlad, Hiranyakasipu was sitting with Prahlad, my dear son, like, what did you learn today? And he thought he was going to say something dumb and cute or something like this. And he says, Shravanam Kirtana, Vishnu, what? Vishnu? Who's teaching you this nonsense? Vishnu? Who taught you this? And he calls Chandana Marka and chats and what is this? Who taught him this Vishnu Bhakti? Are you teaching him Vishnu Bhakti? Like, no, Hiranyakasipu, it wasn't me. I'm not teaching him anything about Lord Vishnu. Then who is teaching him? Find out. Are there any of these rascal Vaishnavas just infiltrating our sense gratification camp and teaching him, who's doing all this? Who's doing this? And then he gets so frustrated over time and he realizes, what is going on? I'm unable to kill you. Prahlad, I'm unable to kill you. Then he asks him, my dear Prahlad, what is the source of your power? And just by asking him this, he admitted defeat. Just by asking him this, what is the source of your power, Prahlad? What's the source of your power? Because Hiranyakasipu, the great Hiranyakasipu, performed so many austerities. I performed so many austerities. I performed so much tapasya. I was able to conquer over everyone, but I'm unable to make you flinch in your devotion to the so-called Vishnu. Vishnu is not supreme. I am supreme. Worship me. So he asked, what is the source of your power? And Prahlad says, my dear father, the very source of your power is the source of my power. And that power is Vishnu. And it fried him out completely. Fried him out completely. Why? Because he had firm faith in the orders of his spiritual master. He was a young boy. Where did he have a chance to go and learn the Vedas from a Vaishnava? Where did he have a chance? No. He learned it in his mother's womb. He learned Krishna consciousness in his mother's womb. And because he had so much faith in the orders of the spiritual master, he was able to perform the fantastic task of pleasing the Lord so much that he comes to personally protect him. Personally. And so he personally comes to protect Prahlad. And Hiranyakasipu, he's completely frustrated. He's able to control everyone but the small boy. He's 5 years old. You see, it's one thing that Hiranyakasipu, if you have an enemy, you fight with them, they fight with you, and you go and you defeat them, and they're judged, you're victorious. But Prahlad thought Hiranyakasipu was so insignificant, I don't even need to fight with him. What need is there for me to fight with this fellow? No need. I don't care about you. Like if an ant comes and tries to attack you full force and somehow runs into full force on your toe and just falls down aside, you don't even care about that ant. So Hiranyakasipu felt like that. Just like Indra, he mustered up all his power and he would throw at Hiranyakasipu's invincible thunderbolt weapon and would just touch Hiranyakasipu's chest and break into pieces. Hiranyakasipu felt like that towards Prahlad. Where are you getting this power from? I didn't see you go and perform all these austerities. Where are you getting this power from? How is it possible? How is it possible? My dear Father, it's possible only by the mercy of Lord Vishnu. He's there. He's present everywhere. My dear Lord Vishnu is present everywhere. And because he's become a faithful, bona fide Vaishnava, there was nothing Hiranyakasipu could do to torment Prahlad. Nothing could happen. Nothing. What could he do? Nothing at all. He couldn't do it. He couldn't even scratch him. Nothing could happen. And the worst thing also is that, okay, all right, I'm not able to do anything. He's converting the kids of the demons into devotees. It's so crazy. Like this, he's coming and completely destroying. He's overthrowing my empire. He's overthrowing my reign. I worked so hard for this. And we experienced this so many times, When they're shooting books and they start to conventions and they realize we're devotees. Or we're trying to be devotees. We're representatives of Krishna. They say, you rascals, we worked so hard for our sense gratification. You're coming in and ruining our sense gratification. How dare you come and distribute books and ruin our sense gratification? You know how much money we had to put in to make all this amazing, great sense gratification facilities for us? You know how hard we had to work? And you rascals are coming and destroying our sense gratification? You can never come back here again. Never. But the fire has already been set. What are you going to do? Most of your customers, we did more business than all the vendors in your store. What will you say? What will you do? What will you do? How much business did each of your vendors do? 5,600. We did $15,000 worth of business. What can you do? The fire is already set. The damage is already done. And this damage is eternal. There's nothing you can do to stop us. The fire of Krishna consciousness is here. What can they do? Why? Because we have the invincible Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on our side. Or rather, we are on his side. We are backed by such a great person. And because we are backed by such a great person, our success is 100%. Just like Prahlad's success is 100%. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Pata Dhanudaraha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti Dhruva Nitin Matir Mama. Wherever there is Krishna, the great mystic, and wherever there is Arjuna, the great what? The great archer. The great archer. There is certainly There'll certainly be victory, fame, opulence, morality, and everything desirable. So certainly, yes, so many Hiranyakasipus are there. Yes, they'll try to stop the movement. They'll try to do this, they'll try to do that. But we have the most invincible weapons in our hands. There's nothing they can do. And the more a person has faith in the order of the spiritual master, the more and more a person is empowered to perform activities which have never been heard of before. The demigods are also devotees of Vishnu, right? They're also, without being devotees of Vishnu, they can't come there. But their loyalty was not there to Vishnu. How loyal were they? How loyal were they? Would would a pure devotee rather die surrendering to Vishnu, or would he compromise his stance and then surrender to a demon and try to practice his own sense of Krishna consciousness? That is how we kill the Hiranyakashipu desires within our heart, by fully, exclusively surrendering to Krishna and Krishna alone. Krishna tells 3 times in the Bhagavad Gita, don't have your devotion like that of a prostitute towards a man. Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevati sadguna samatityayitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That Krishna tells Arjuna, don't let your bhakti be avyabhicharini bhakti. Don't let your bhakti be like that of a prostitute. Let it be like a chaste wife towards her husband. If we have chaste and exclusive devotion unto Srila Prabhupada and his faithful followers, there is nothing that is impossible. Everything is possible. Everything can happen. We should have faith in this. If we have faith in this, then we'll actually be able to do it. How much faith did Prahlad have? How much faith did he have? He had so much faith. Shraddha Shabde was the definition of faith. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasakori, Shrudita Nishai, Krishna Bhakti Kale, Sarvakama Krita Hoy. That a person who has firm faith in Krishna, the very definition of faith is that unflinching trust in the sublime fact that just by performing Krishna consciousness, all our activities, all our Krishna Bhakti Kale, Sarvakama Krita Hoy, all our desires will be completely fulfilled. This is what it means to have firm faith. Dridhavrata, a person should be Dridhavrata. We must have firm faith that no matter what, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Yes, the spiritual master said to do it. We have to do it. Even if we fail doing it, rather we die than not take upon the orders of the spiritual master. This should be, and we can see Jayananda Prabhu. He was such a great Vaishnava. He's such a great person. He was only 28 years old. Although he was a great mechanical engineer, he did not have everything it took in order to be part of the rat race. He was not so materialistic. So he would simply drive a cab. And he always felt that, where is God? How can I get to know God? His name was Jim Kaur. Something like this. I'm probably messing up his last name. He was driving his taxi, and he remembers being 4 years old. He remembers, he once stood up and he stood in his church with his grandmother, and he told his grandmother, where is God? I'm unable to find God here. The grandmother said, you'll find God or something like this. And then finally he was 28 years old. He was driving his taxi, and somehow he came across a flyer that this great Swami from India is visiting. So somehow he thought that I should go and visit this great Swami. And then he finally goes and meets Srila Prabhupada in Haight-Ashbury. And he goes and he sees Srila Prabhupada, and he feels very, very satisfied, very satisfied. Can you give me a nectar of devotion, Prabhu? I'm sure it's here. He feels very satisfied. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Finally, all my questions about God have been answered. It's so nice to actually meet finally a great saint who's a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then, he comes, he keeps coming back. And at that point of time, all the devotees, all the people who were there, they were mainly hippies. But, he was very saintly, and he never had any of these hang-ups that other devotees had. And, he worked so hard, he collected his money. And how much is $5,000 back in 1967? A lot, right? How much, if you compare to it?
It's like 100,000.
100,000, huh?
50,000.
That was the value of 5,000 back in 1967?
50K minimum.
No, I think you look it up.
50K minimum.
I don't think it's 100,000. I think it's
Like 50.
50 might be too much.
50,000.
It says like
Right.
45,000. Okay, yeah.
45,000, 50,000. So, and it's good poetic, expressions allowed to me. So, he gave Srila Prabhupada $5,000, basically $50,000 worth of his own money to print this book, Nectar of Devotion. And then Srila Prabhupada writes in this book, I beg to offer my sincere thanks to all my friends and disciples for helping me push forward the Krishna consciousness movement in the Western countries. And I beg to acknowledge, Prabhupada says it is so beautiful, I beg to acknowledge with thanks the contribution made by my beloved disciple, Sriman Jayananda Brahmachari. Prabhupada thanks him personally. Like Krishna will bless you personally. Prabhupada thanked him personally for helping him publish this beautiful book, Nectar of Devotion. Just by doing that, you're going to go back home back to Godhead. But his glories are more. He also, Prabhupada has another letter that he gave another $5,000 in order to print the Bhagavad Gita. And when Prabhupada told the devotees that it was his desire that these books, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, be distributed, Jayananda Prabhu was the first person who actually tried to distribute the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. He was one of the first people to actually go out and chant on the stage. But the instruction which he really took to heart was how to practically serve Krishna. He was always engaged in serving the devotees. No matter how dirty, how stinky, how horrible a hippie was, he gave his complete life and complete heart to serving this hippie and trying to make them a devotee. He would work so hard, and he took to heart this, that Srila Prabhupada really wanted Rath Yatra to be established. So he started out the first Rath Yatra in the whole Krishna consciousness movement by taking Lord Jagannath on a flatbed truck. Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra on a flatbed, like how we have a Ram, they also had a flatbed truck. No, is that a flatbed truck?
A flatbed is a pickup truck, but the bag, there's no bed. It's like
there's no bed. Okay. Yeah. Okay, flat one. So he arranged for that, and then year after year after year after year, he improved this Rath Yatra so much to such a degree, that all the city officials, the vendors, the people at the grocery stores, they all loved Jayananda Thakur so much, and they would call him Johnny Ananda. They wouldn't say Jayananda, they would call him Johnny Ananda. And Prabhupada also very much loved his disciples so much, that when sometimes when Srila Prabhupada would come to San Francisco, and Jayananda Prabhu would be driving all the devotees there, and he would ask the devotees, where is Jayananda? They say, oh Prabhupada, Jayananda is parking the van. And Prabhupada would not start his class until Jayananda Prabhu comes in. And sometimes when Jayananda Prabhu would come in, you say, oh, just look at Jayananda. He looks just like Lord Chaitanya. And Jayananda Prabhu is such a beautiful person. I think I can pull up a picture of him. Such a beautiful person to look at, and Srila Prabhupada, he glorified him in so many ways. Just see the purity, the purity. Once Jayananda Prabhu was offering a garland to Srila Prabhupada, and he had greasy clothes on, and he told Srila Prabhupada, I'm so sorry for my greasy clothes. He said, your clothes may be dirty, but your heart is pure. So, how amazing, how wonderful. And he performed so much service, and he dedicated his life to doing this Rath Yatra ceremony so much. And year after year, he improved this Rath Yatra so much. And then, and one thing that every time he would be doing this Rath Yatra, he would be so engaged in building the carts and getting everything organized that for a few days he would not be able to chant his rounds. Or maybe he would chant a few rounds here and there. And he would note it down. And then right after the Rath Yatra got over, he would sit in one place and chant all the rounds that are pending. Like let's just say 5 days worth of rounds. Or 6 days. Or 7 days, right? What's 7 times 16? 112, right?
Yes.
Yeah. 7 times 6. So 112 rounds. Maybe 128 rounds. Maybe he'd have 128 rounds pending, along with the 16 rounds for the day. He would just sit in one place and he would chant all his rounds without eating or drinking water or doing anything. He would just sit in one place and chant all the rounds that were pending for him. Can we imagine doing that? Just sitting in one. He exhibited such taste for the holy name. Such taste. So much, it was so amazing. I remember we were doing Harinam in Inman Park, and we came across this guy who had a booth who was selling honey. Remember the brother who started dancing with us?
He was shaking a little bit.
Yeah, and he took a video and he was dancing with us like that. Yeah. And then the slogan or the thing in order for him to sell his honey was, if you ain't tasting, you wasting. if you're not tasting this honey, you're wasting your life. So I also thought, oh man, if I'm not tasting the holy name, I'm wasting my life. Jayananda Thakur, he was tasting the nectar, the Harirasa Madhira. He was able to taste this intoxicating beverage of serving the spiritual master with unflinching faith and trust. He was able to do this. He was able to, drink this nectar of Krishna consciousness so much. He was able to drink this nectar. And then he exerted his body so much and he was performing all this amazing activities that he had got lumps on his body, which later turned out to be cancerous, in which he got the leukemia disease. And then one devotee discovered that right before the New York Rath Yatra, that this person had this, and he swore this devotee to see, because he promised me he will not tell anyone until after the Rath Yatra was over. And after the Rath Yatra was over, the news came out that Jayananda Thakur had cancer. And he was, he was still, no matter, although his body was completely as a shell, he was still continuously serving the devotees. He was continuously serving Srila Prabhupada. He was continuously serving, and his whole goal was how to expand this Rath Yatra. Engaging the mind in the Guru's business. Always. The Guru's business is preaching. Book distribution is the Guru's business. We have to engage our mind and constantly tax our mind how we can expand the business of the Guru. That's what he was doing. And he got this, he had this whole vision of how he wanted the LA Rath Yatra to be. And then he convinced Rameshwar Prabhu, who is as fanatical. You all think we are fanatical? Wait till you meet Rameshwar Prabhu. He is really fanatical about book distribution. He convinced Rameshwar Prabhu that his party of book distributors should also help with the LA Rath Yatra. And Rameshwar Prabhu says that Jayananda was so Krishna conscious that it was so obvious to everyone that he was receiving a direct instruction from Lord Jagannath himself. Rameshwar Prabhu says this. He was receiving direct instructions from Lord Jagannath himself. And he stopped everything, and all the devotees were getting ready and doing all these things. And it was a beautiful, and once they were taking Jayananda Thakur on the walk, and as he had already seen the LA Rath Yatra, he said, wow, this is such a wonderful Rath Yatra. And then a few days before the LA Rath Yatra were to happen, Jayananda Thakur, he was on his deathbed. He was on his deathbed, and he was, listening to a tape of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna. And then, when he realized he was about to die, he took the tape recorder of Srila Prabhupada and he embraced it to his chest and he died. He left his body. Such a glorious death. Can you imagine? He embraced the chanting of Srila Prabhupada and then he left his body like that. How can we understand? Jayananda Thakur, how can we understand? What a transcendental personality he is. That's why Srila Prabhupada said that on every Rath Yatra, the festival that we have, we should put a picture of Jayananda Thakur. On every Rath Yatra. Like it's so instrumental in spreading Krishna consciousness. Without him, we wouldn't have the nectar book distribution. Without him, we wouldn't have the Bhagavad Gita as it is. I think he even helped, and he paid even for the publication of teachings of law. Can you get a TLC, Prabhu? I think even over there, Prabhupada thanked Sriman Jayananda Das Brahmachari for donating for this. Without him, we wouldn't even have these books. He went and he gave his life. He gave his life. How much faith he had to have in Prabhupada to do this. And Prabhupada, at the end, he writes 2 letters to Jayananda Prabhu, where he says, okay, thank you. I can see this over here. Even in the beginning of teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada thanks him. Okay. Everyone has okay, I'm not able to find it here. But he helped Prabhupada translate, do all these things. So he writes 3 letters to Jayananda Prabhu, where he says, I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter. I thank you for the check as well as the nice sentiments you have expressed. In the beginning, you also gave me $5,000. And now, again, you have sent. This body is today or tomorrow finished. We should not be very much bothered about the body. Trees also live for thousands of years, but that does not mean a successful life. Successful life is one of Krishna consciousness. By the grace of Krishna, from the very beginning, you are a devotee. That is the real profit of your life. I thank you for the check, but I would prefer that you may require the money for your treatment. You see, he gave the money which is meant for his treatment to cure his body to Srila Prabhupada to print his books. Book distribution is the only solution. So if you like, I can return it. But I hear that you have some income. I pray to Krishna for your more advanced Krishna conscious life. About a sadhu, it is said, Jiva va marova. A sadhu may live or die. It does not matter. While living, he is engaged in Krishna consciousness business. And when dying, he goes back home, back to Godhead. And on May 5th, 1977, this is on February 21st, 1977, this is May 5th. I feel this Prabhupada is saying, this is so amazing. Prabhupada is saying, I am feeling very intensely your separation. In 1967, you joined me in San Francisco. You were driving my car and chanting Hare Krishna. You were the first man to give me some contribution, 5,000, for printing my Bhagavad Gita. So you got Nectar Devotion, you got Bhagavad Gita. And after that, you have rendered very favorable service to Krishna in different ways. I so hope at the time of your death you were remembering Krishna, and as such you have been promoted to the eternal association of Krishna. If not, if you had any tinge of material desire, you have gone to the celestial kingdom to live with the demigods for many thousands of years and enjoy the most opulent life of material existence. From there, you can promote yourself to the spiritual world. But even if one fails to promote himself to the spiritual world at that time, he comes down again on the surface of this globe and takes birth in a big family like a yogis or brahmanas or an aristocratic family, where there is again a chance of reviving Krishna consciousness. But as you were hearing Krishna Kirtan, I am sure that you were directly promoted to Krishna Loka. Janma karma chime divyam evam yo viti tattvataha tattva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sochana. Krishna has done a great favor to you, not to continue your diseased body, and has given you a suitable place for your service. Thank you very much. And then he wrote a letter to Rameshwar Prabhu on May 11, 1977. He said, Jayananda's death is glorious. He taught us how to live, he taught us how to die. And this is how we should die also. It is very good that he had stated, what is the use of such a useless body? Better to give it up. He has left his body very wonderfully. And he has been transferred to Vaikuntha. I have already sent a condolence letter for publication in the Back to Godhead. Everyone should follow the example of Jayananda, Prabhupada's direct order. Everyone should follow his example. I am very proud how rare it is for the spiritual master to say, I am very proud to have such a disciple. I am very proud that I have such a nice disciple. If possible, Jayananda's picture should be hung in the Ratha of Lord Jagannath, and in all our temples, a day must be set aside for holding a festival in his honor. Just as we do on the Disappearance Day of the other great Vaishnavas. So this is the ecstasy. We see how Jayananda Prabhu gave his life to Srila Prabhupada. So we should also give our life to Prabhupada. The demons may ask, is God in this book? Is God in this book? Yes, He's in this book. You open it and Narasimha will appear in your mind and destroy all your misconceptions. Yes, just like He appeared out of that pillar, He can appear out of this book. And just like, Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, He's everywhere, my dear Father. He's even in this pillar. So similarly, Lord Narasimha is everywhere we go. Ito Narasimha, Parato Narasimha. Ito yami tato Narasimha. Bahir Narasimha hridaye Narasimha. Narasimha madim sharanam prapadye. That Lord Narasimha is everywhere. He's everywhere we go. He's in those pillars, right in the airport. He's in the pillars, right in the Walmart. He's in the floor, He's in the car, He's everywhere we go. So He's there present, He's personally present. And the most amazing thing, Lord Narasimha can personally be present in your mouth. He can be present in your words. Lord Narasimha, you see, don't think that, our Sampradaya, Narada Muni, what did he do? He went, he infiltrated Hiranyakasipu's kingdom and planted the essence of all of Srila Prabhupada's books within the heart of Prahlad Maharaj. Is exactly what we're doing. We're going and we're infiltrating Hiranyakasipu's empire by giving everyone possible these books, which are the purest things ever. Srila Prabhupada's books, there's nothing purer than Srila Prabhupada's books. This is the purest kirtan that a person can ever experience. These are Srila Prabhupada's personal ecstasies. And we are going and distributing these books en masse to people, that everywhere they go, we're giving them these books. And one day, when the time is right, is the entire civilization will completely crumble. Because Narasimhadev will appear and shred this entire civilization to pieces. We should have that faith. Because this is what's happening. There's no doubt about this. There's no doubt. Don't have doubt. If you have doubt, get it destroyed by Chinna Samshaya. Get it destroyed by Vishnu. Get it destroyed. Have full, unflinching faith that this book distribution is exactly what Narada Muni did in order to overthrow this great demon civilization. And just by distributing these books, just like this, just like termites, they enter into a piece of wood. I love giving this example. A termite, when he enters into a piece of wood, he starts to eat the wood all the way from the inside of the wood. And then one day he just touches the thing and the entire structure collapses. So similarly, these books are like transcendental termites eating away at this rotting material civilization. And at one point of time, this whole civilization is going to crack, is going to crumble, is going to fall apart. And we will do our part. If we go on to distribute an entire set of Srimad Bhagavatam, if someone has an entire set of Bhagavatams in their home, how can they ignore the Bhagavatam? How can they ignore it? How powerful is the Srimad Bhagavatam? How powerful. Therefore, we should make it our life. It's not enough to rock the Bhagavatam state of mind jacket. Be in it. Do it. Go and distribute Bhagavatam. Anyone can wear. I also can wear. Anyone can wear. But we should actually go and distribute these books. Distribute the Bhagavatam. Really, we should make it our life's work. Because this is what our spiritual master wants. This is what Srila Prabhupada wants. This is what Narada Muni wants. This is what Prahlad Maharaj wants. This is what Narasimhadev wants. So we should do it. We should go ahead and do it. And by doing it, we will get the topmost benefit. So I'll end the class over here. If there's any questions or comments or protests, we can take them now. Yes, Nally, Trace. Kalki, you raise your hand? Okay. Not Trace, sorry, Tyrese.
I just think it's interesting.
No, tell them.
I just think it's interesting. From what I understand, in pretty much every part of the world, every culture, every religion, they have this concept of some sort of half man, half lion. People have visions of it. You have like the Sphinx in Egypt, and obviously there's so many. That Narasimha book teaches all the different places around the world. So Narasimhadev's appearing, even like to the Christians in some of their visions I've seen. Like to
really, huh?
Yeah.
There's news to me.
I don't know if it's like, I don't know if you can say that necessarily, but they do have some conception of this half man, half lion, like destroying demons for them, clearing the path back to like God. So I thought it was interesting.
That's amazing. Yes.
Here's just one story of Jayananda Thakur. I'm not very good at explaining it. Maybe you could do it about when when the boys were begging him to get new clothes, and because they were so dirty from working on the car and doing so much service, and so eventually after the devotees begged him so much, he eventually went to the thrift store, but he was so absorbed in utilizing everything Krishna service, he didn't want to waste any of Krishna's energy. So rather than buying jeans, he I guess he went into in one of those rooms or whatever, he put on the jeans, he was going to steal the jeans instead of paying for them because he didn't want to waste, Krishna's money, for his own, personal, gratification, So any of the workers caught him stealing the jeans, and so he had a court date, for this theft. And so on that court, in court on that court date, the judge was essentially, asking, all the devotees were there, he was there, and it was a big thing, and the judge was asking him to explain himself, and he just burst into tears, saying that, he didn't want to waste Krishna's money on himself.
And the judge cried too.
And then the judge cried as well.
And pardoned him.
And imparted him.
I think she even personally paid for those jeans.
It's just amazing, that kind of purity.
Yeah.
These are pastimes of a pure devotee.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
The Prabhupada is the first saint within the Krishna consciousness movement. Yes. And also another pastime of his is also that, when after Jayananda Thakur passed away, the next day when the devotee went to get permission, and she was like, "Where's my friend Johnny Ananda? Where is he?" And the judge, they said they used to call him Johnny Ananda because they couldn't say Jayananda. And then they told him that Jayananda Thakur left, and then this judge like burst into tears, crying, like he was such a great saint. Anyway, we can't even understand purity.
I remember, I think it was him. It was Jayananda.
Are you talking to the mic?
And Prabhupada in a taxi, I think, and I think it was one more other devotee, and Prabhupada was just glorifying how, pure him chanting japa is. And he was saying like he's chanting very purely, and like Prabhupada is actually getting benefit from hearing him chant.
Whoa, I never heard that, but
Yeah.
sounds useful. Ante.
Prabhupada, actually, one instruction of Prabhupada said that everybody should learn from Jayananda Prabhu is that there is one, like he drives the car and chants Hare Krishna.
Uh-huh.
So there is one letter, no? Which Prabhupada said that we should learn from Jayananda Prabhu. While you're driving your car, you should always chant Hare Krishna.
Oh, amazing.
So this Prabhupada specifically told to learn from Jayananda Prabhu.
Uh-huh. Amazing. Shai. Yes, Avadut.
Keshavarti Goswami was living with Jayananda Prabhu, Jayananda Thakur, and when Jayananda Thakur found out that he had cancer, he just continued on with his service despite the difficulties that came with that. And Keshavarti Maharaj remembers like seeing Jayananda Prabhu like in the morning taking a bath, and there was a lot of sores on his body, but he was like so determined to serve Srila Prabhupada and Lord Jagannath. He didn't let it get in his way.
Yeah.
Can't understand the tolerance and the depth of his
Tapasya.
devotional service. Yeah, tapasya. Yeah, hardly sleeping or anything. But yeah, and the way he would chant his rounds early in the morning too.
Yeah, he would
His chanting
intense.
was so
Yeah.
loud, yeah, it's really nice.
There are a lot of pastimes of Jayananda Thakur in those Radha Damodar party memories as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many of it, oftentimes a lot of like new people, especially like the hard knock, like devotees, they would put them in the room with Jayananda Thakur, to get like, blessed, his purity. And then there's another pastime of him driving to a prison. I don't know if you heard this one.
The halwa one.
The halwa one, that was really amazing. But anyway, I just wanted to ask, someone may hear like Jayananda Thakur and, he essentially neglects his body for, the service of Prabhupada.
Mm.
And one may hear that and, feel like they have to do the same thing, to perform some service, maybe book distribution, so how do we distinct the difference, it's like, is there a time and place where you should do it, so, like, oftentimes the devotee may not just take prasad at all.
Yeah, that's like an idiot. I asked you to eat prasad so many times, you don't eat. So, it's a stupidity, you can't imitate. You won't go on, great, you can distribute books for 5 years, we want you to distribute books for 50 years, what's the use? So yeah, we don't imitate him. There's a certain standard of devotion. But you want to imitate him, why don't you do everything else every day?
Yeah.
Why don't you try? Can you sit and chant 128 rounds without eating or drinking water or eating anything? Probably not. Even if you could do it for 1 day, how many days can you do it for? So yeah, it's not recommended. It's certain people that, when they're naturally so advanced, it's obvious.
Yeah.
But we should not try to artificially impose this upon our minds. It's 9:07. And is it a quick one? Is it like a...
Yeah, I was remembering when Prabhupada
had an accident with some disciples, and he established after that worship Lord Nrsimhadeva in the temples. Was there another?
Yeah, so yes, when Srila Prabhupada was actually having a heart attack in California, he had all his disciples, he taught them this prayer, and they prayed to Nrsimhadev to keep Srila Prabhupada around for some time more because Prabhupada didn't finish his work. Okay?
No, but I understand that was after accident or something.
No, it was after the heart attack.
Heart attack. But this happened. This car accident with some.
Car accident also happened in Africa, but it's a different thing.
Oh.
I think it happened to your problem now. Maji's, anything? No? Okay, alright. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Hiranyakasipu ki jai.
Pancha